सुप्रसिद्ध जॅपनीज टेक्नॉलॉजी असलेली भारतातील नंबर 1 ओकिनावा इलेक्ट्रिक स्कूटर आता कडेगाव येथे उपलब्ध। एमके ई मोटर्स कराड आपल्या सेवेत रुजू। आमच्याकडे ओकिनावाच्या आयप्रेस, प्रेस प्रो, रीज, ओकिनावा ड्युएल, लाइट, R30 इत्यादी इलेक्ट्रिक व्हेइकल उपलब्ध। केवळ 10 रुपयापेक्षा कमी दरात 100 किलोमीटर मायलेज। मग वाट कशाची पाहताय? आजच संपर्क करा आणि आमच्या शोरूमला नक्की भेट द्या। आमचा पत्ता कडेगाव विटा रोड, सोनेरा पेट्रोल पंपासमोर, कडेगाव। मोबाईल नंबर 9508 74 325 आणि 9508 74 180।
सुनील शास्त्री जी, बालासाहेब थोरात, members of the Sindhi family and friends. I am extremely happy to participate in the centenary celebration of Sri Anna Sachindi, who has laid the foundation of food security in India. And that time was a difficult time. That time the country was living under the acute hunger and severe shortage of the basic food given resource. Food insecurity during 1966-67 reached peak, which led the country to buy raised wheat and willow flowers from the United States agreement that was called as the FIEL-4. This was the period when Anna Sahib joined Ministry of Agriculture in Government of India. Thanks to policy directives and initiative of Anna Sahib and Dr. C. Subramaniam, then Minister of Agriculture, who permitted to import tons of Mexican wheat for the technological upgradation of Indian wheat through breeding. They have shown a confidence in the agriculture scientists of the country and encouraged them to infuse Indian wheat. Both are best known as the architect of the Indian modern agricultural policy after the success of their program, which led to record food production, particularly wheat production. As the Minister of Food and Agriculture, they sustained the Indian Green Revolution, an era of self-sufficiency in food, along with two scientists, Dr. Norman Volkar and Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. And one more bureaucrat, and that was C. Sivaraman. India then rebelled as a leading role and sought to mount food security, turn the table, and not only become food secure, but also food exporters. Everybody then appreciated the power of genetic science, which has extended soon to achieve a high productivity of rice, millet, and many other foods. India harvested a record food production that was 316 million metric tons in the recent years. I myself recollect when I took over in 2004 the responsibility of the Minister of Agriculture and Food and Civil Supply. I recollect I took over and came to my residence. And the first file which came to me, which I read, and I was very unhappy, very uneasy, and that file was suggesting certain quantity of wheat to be imported of Brazil and United States of America. I just think India is a known country for agriculture. Once upon a time, person like Dr. Swaminathan, Shivaraman, Annasar Shinde, C. Shivaraman, they have contributed a lot. They successfully resolved the problem of the food security. And what is this? I got a proposal to import. And that's why I was not ready or eager to sign this particular file. I recollect, I could not clear that file. And then after 2 hours or 3 hours, I got a call from Dr. Manmohan Singh. The file is pending with you? I said, yes. Have you assessed the country's stock position? I said, no. So please assess the country's stock position and then take quick decision. I collected information from FCI and I realized what is the ground level situation. Then I have signed and I decided that this situation has to be changed. This was 2004. In 2014, when I left the responsibility to the Agriculture Ministry, I was very happy, and I will give credit to the Indian farmers and the scientists that the situation was totally changed. Situation was India becomes second largest exporter of wheat in the world. India becomes largest exporter of rice in the world. India becomes largest producer of wheat in the world. India becomes largest producer of horticultural products in the world. That is the situation today. But when Anna Sir took responsibility, that time the situation was altogether different. The grain stock, in fact, has been substantially improved. But certain major decisions were taken by Anna Sahib and particularly C. Subramanian and Dr. Swaminathan, the situation started changing. There was opposition to import certain type of material from some of the countries outside India. In spite of opposition, that time, the firm decision of the policymakers cleared to get more than 10 Jan Mexican wheat and simultaneously permitted scientists to read and develop semi-DOS, high-yielding, non-loading, fertilizer and water responsive wheat cultures using Mexican Nosium 10 germ. And despite of the fact there was the objection of the use for the foreign germ flooding to read local cultivators, policymakers like Anna Sar Shinde prevailed on the use of technology in those days. And looking back at this last 75 years, it's really worthwhile to say and proud that today nation has become reached level to the Food Security Act in the face, and no one in the country needs to go hungry to wait as they have legal right to food. I salute to this awareness of the food security on the occasion of centenary year. Food security is right now on the agenda of any country, including India. First, COVID-19 induced pandemic for the 2 years, and then the Ukraine-Russia war, coupled with the recent in the climate change, have become the main reason behind it. Policymakers, scientists, politicians are now recalling the free green revolution period when the food security was on the top of the agenda for every government. However, India lately became complacent and started neglecting the development of the science, particularly eugenetics and breeding. We are self-sufficient and hence could not afford driving those suggestions on how the food could be produced. Even so-called idiots with a little knowledge and background of the agriculture, they offer many suggestions. The activism emerged, opposing everything which is linked to the genetic progress, and even dictated the policy agenda to the government. As a result, we made hardly any progress in genetic engineering science application in spite of the known success of the first biotech crop, that is lychee cotton. We have not permitted our own GM mustard cultivation. What happened now is well known. We are importing edible oil worth rupees 80,000 crores annually, including which is produced from the GM, soybean and mustard. The climate change effect on the ground this year set alarm bells in these cottages of farmers, and the first panic reaction was the immediate ban on the export of wheat. Although the government committed to export 10 to 15 metric million tons of the wheat considering to the global situation. This reaction was resulted of the shortfall of the wheat. Over the last year, nearly 8.5 metric million tons over the expected production this year due to terminal heat and the glass filling the stage at the moment. To avoid the excessive increase in the domestic price up to the level of the global market, governments realized that such inflation will create a political chaos. Agricultural Ministry of G7 countries have expressed their deep concern over the India's wheat export ban, as they fear that the global situation will further worsen in the time of war. Global price of the wheat have already skyrocketed, and that was $450 per ton, which is about a 35 rupees per kilo. Not only the Western world, but also the International Monetary Fund pursuing India to reconsider the export ban on the wheat. Amid the series of policy reform, the Indian Prime Minister realized that the new crisis had emerged where food security has been threatened, and because of the issue of the food security, countries which vehemently opposing the genetically altered crops suddenly changed their attitude towards the use of genetic technologies to enable innovation to boost the food security. The genetic technology has been introduced in the British Parliament recently, on the late 25th 2002, to cut the red tape, the support of development of the innovative technologies to grow more resistant, more nutritious, and more productive crops in the wake of climate change. It is hoped that this bill will remove unnecessary barriers to the research and new germ editing technology, which for too long has been held back by EU rules around the genome editing, which focus on legal interpretation. rather than science. Even negotiations towards the genetic technology are responsible for UK's outstanding leading agriculture research institution to ease the research in this biotechnology. In fact, it is never late to realize that these leading technologies, such genome editing, have a range of benefits which will empower scientists to help farmers and producers to develop crop varieties which beneficially safe in more efficient and precise way. Recently, 4 nations have decided the GMO wheat safe for consumers, and they are Argentina, Brazil, Australia, New Zealand. The Philippines are also the first country to approve the planting of so-called golden rice modified to contain beta-consumption. 2 decades after the International Rice Research Institute, that is IRRI, received license for the crop. Similarly, drought-tolerant soybean, that is variety HV4, is now approved for unrestricted growth and commercialization in the United States of America, Canada, Brazil, Argentina, altogether representing roughly 85% of the global soybean trade, and China to approve the import varieties. Foreseeing the direct impact of the climate change, particularly turbulent heat in the month of March, and subsequently reduction of wheat output this year, have now alarmed the policymakers in India. It is realized for the first time that the food security cannot be taken for granted in the future, as the risk of climate change is now visible on the ground. The current reaction of the government of India to ease the regulation of Environment Protection Act is a step forward in the progressive direction. Indian scientists were eagerly waiting for positive signs favoring genome-edited crops as witnessed in other countries. Though the memorandum, the Government of India exempted certain provisions of the EPA rules 1989, which promotes the regularly wide safety of genetically modified organisms in India. Certainly, the scientific community is overwhelmed by the decision, as many public and private institutions have already developed products by using this technique, like a rice variety requiring less water, banana wild fortified with beta content, and several crops further with tolerance to the pest, disease, climate change, and enhance the nutrition, particularly which is in the five. The technology must put to use the farmers. Hopefully, our regulatory system will encourage you for adopting new genetic technologies used for all stakeholders. In populous countries like India, food security cannot be compromised, and what our leaders like Anna Shinde taught us, we should never forget. And we have to use the technology. Had we not allowed the genes adopting the resistance, nutrition, and water responsive to use in the wheat and subsequently in the rice, the entire scenario of the agriculture would have been that we see around in the neighboring countries. Though Sri Anna Sahib came from villages, he understood the power of the science. He understood the power of the technology and encouraged scientists to achieve food security. So let us not forget what shown by such stalwarts to keep the nation secure in the food, as well as we are likely to become the most populous nation, surpassing China next year. Promotion of science and technology for the welfare of the farming community would be therefore perfect. Taken by government to encourage. Even City has taken resolve the
Thank you, Fawad Sahib, for giving glowing words